Thanks for checking out Talking About Photos with Strangers. I'm here with young Ansel, one of my favorite people that I've actually had the pleasure of meeting and talking to since basically this whole journey on YouTube for this past month. He's actually only had Instagram, or his certain account has only been posting photos since January 27th, but whole bunch of shares, whole bunch of recognition because, it's just amazing. So thank you so much for stopping by and letting me discuss some things with you today.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so like I said, I've gone through your Instagram. I love everything that you've put up. Honestly, like it's very, I don't know how to explain it, but when I first saw your Instagram, I thought you were one of those feature accounts. I honestly thought you were an account that just took shots from, like Kyle McDougall and Place It people and things like that and put them on your page. And then the more I saw you two other times, I think Fuji Mag put you up on their account as a feature, and I realized it was all you. And since then, I've been fascinated by everything that you've done so far. And so I think the biggest question for me is, how long have you been dabbling in photography? I know you're not a professional per se, but how long have you been dabbling in this?
Thanks, man. I appreciate the kind words. I guess I got a camera, first kind of real camera in probably 2017 or so. And then got more into it the last, 4, 5, 6 months, probably kind of a pandemic thing, I guess you could say. I've been, I think I'm probably more drawn to I live in Colorado, although I live out on the plains, so it's not like the mountains and the grand vistas and things like that you'd kind of typically think of. And that's honestly probably what I'm drawn to photograph, but without being able to move around the state and things like that, I started shooting what's available to me, which are a lot of rusty cars and windmills and kind of rural things like that. So really probably started ramping it up the last 4, 5, 6 months, I'd say.
Yeah, wow. That's one thing that I do like and I do harp on a lot. I've mentioned you a lot on my YouTube, just for the fact that I'm also from a small, more rural area, and I had to learn to basically take what I have and make it look good. Because someone who lives somewhere, especially not in a big city, even in a big city, the things you see every day don't seem as fantastic or fascinating. And so it really takes a lot for you to have the eye to start looking for these things. And as I'm looking at your page right now, there are a lot of vintage rustic cars, but the things that I love the most are the composition you have, that you're putting into, and the way you structure it with a lot of the things like the factories or the mills, or like you said, windmills, or with the scenic views and things like that. Do you have any certain photographers or anything, or a certain style that you've looked at and you've kind of modeled after, or something that inspired you whenever you first started getting more gung-ho in photos?
Oh yeah. Since I've kind of gone down the rabbit hole, I think I saw a video that Kyle McDougall put out, where he talked about kind of his compositional approach basically. And that kind of changed my whole perspective, honestly. Opened up a whole new way of seeing things for me in terms of like balance and just learning to place things in the frame. Opened my eyes that there's like a whole nother level to this whole thing. And then recently I discovered Stephen Shore, who he like blew my mind. I think it's common. Is it Common Places or Uncommon Places? I don't know. I'm going to get roasted in the comments by your 3 million subs probably. But those guys, Dad Wilder on Instagram, I think is awesome. Jason Chambers, take your pick. There's so many talented people out there. But yeah, I'm certainly into like balanced composition, people that are intentional and thoughtful about where they're placing things in the frame, I think is something that I get into.
Yeah, no, I can really tell now that you're mentioning balance, the balance composition. I can really see it in all of your photos, and that's probably what draws me the most. Um, Now, what exactly are you shooting on? Because I've seen you shooting on some film as well as it looks like you may have shot some of these shots with a Sony. So what kind of cameras are you using? What's your gear look like?
Too many, dude. uh, recent, I kind of go back and forth. You know, I was shooting for a long time on an A7 III, or a relatively long time, I guess, and then I got an X100V, or X105, I don't know, X100V, I guess, in January, and that's when I started the Instagram page. Um, I got obsessed with the idea of, for a long time, I was obsessed with the idea of like emulating a film look in Lightroom. Um, wasn't super happy. You know, I tried presets and spent a lot of time with my Sony kind of goofing off. And then I discovered Fuji and started reading about the film recipes and the built-in simulations and things like that. So um, picked up that X100V in January. I got a Canon F1, I think, in December, and it's pretty much spiraled out of control. You know, quickly since then. So I know this is kind of the Leica fanboy channel. I'm not shooting on a Leica yet, but you know, you never know.
Oh man, no, I swear, I'm telling you, man, just from one video about because I just didn't like the comparison. I just said you can't compare the two, like compare the APS-C like it, and I'm telling you, the hate that I've gotten, the DMs that I've got with people telling me like you don't even know what Leica stands for then, and I was trying to figure out because I see stuff like this, and to be honest, the reason why I'm upset with Leica is because I think the M body's overpriced. Because if I was to put your photos by 1,000 Leica photos, by 1,000 Sony photos, by 1,000 film photos, 9 times out of 10, no one's going to be able to tell which photos were Leica film or digital, and that's the thing that always gets me. But I love the fact that that you're just running through gear. I mean, honestly, I ran with an A7 III for a couple years as well. I literally switched from that to Fuji completely, and then switched to Canon part time ish, and then back completely now to Fuji. And I mean, I'm always looking for that. I actually ran to the same thing was because with a lot of my Sony and Canon shots, I wanted to give a distinct look that I knew film had. And so I mess with presets and trying to do stuff and trying to match them. And it's actually still something I'm working on where I'm trying to make Lightroom presets for RAW files so that I can still edit and do more stuff and like pull more back highlights and everything. But Fujifilm, man, with the film recipes, I'd fallen completely in love. What's your favorite film recipes, and what are some that you're using more often than not?
I'm pretty much stuck on the Portra 400 recipe from Fuji X Weekly. Almost exclusively, I mess around a little bit with the Ektar recipe. A couple weeks ago, I was down in Colorado Springs and I was shooting at Garden of the Gods, and I had Ektar recipe on the Fuji, and then I had a Contax G1 loaded up with 35 millimeter Ektar, and it blew my mind how close the two were. But I'm kind of stuck on the Portra recipe.
Yeah, the Porch is one of my favorites. I've been stuck on Ilford HP5. I watched one Matt Day video and I wanted to try the Ilford HP5 Fuji X Weekly simulation, and he messed me up for all eternities.
You're stuck on it. I'm into. I can't. I appreciate black and white, but I mean the colors like half the fun for me. So
No, I agree. Same thing. Black and white. I feel like I've been in a rut because I've been shooting on basically a 28 millimeter focal length, and so it just brings me back to whenever I used to have an old Yashica film camera and would shoot because black and white's cheap. It's cheaper to process everything, and
develop
so
at home. Yep.
exactly. And so that used to be a favorite of mine. But so another question I have, man, whenever it comes to everything. So since January 27th, you've been with this Instagram. That's and it's young.ansel, YONG.ANSEL. you're talking about you're located in rural Colorado and everything like that. The question I have is, when you're finding these things, are you doing photo walks, or is this stuff where you drive by somewhere, you're stopping, you're pulling over, you're taking a photo, or is it just from you being in this location for so long, you know exactly where you want to go to get the shot that you want? Because the thing is, on your account there are no wasted shots. It's every single one of these has impact. It matters. There's balance. There's the colors are blending so well. Even with the framing you're doing, the natural framing that you have in a lot of these, your lead lines. I mean, is this from just you're walking around looking for something? Is it places you already know to go to? How exactly are you finding these moments to capture?
I appreciate that. I've got some real garbage up my sleeve, so just wait. But I'm on the road a lot for work, and I started noticing, and I'm on the road a lot for work. And my spare time, I ride bikes, and I noticed a lot of kind of interesting scenes, and thought, shoot, I might as well carry a camera with me so I can pull over and take some photos. So for the most part, it's just stuff that I spot. I don't really stake anything out. I've done a couple photo walks, but maybe two or three. For the most part, it's just stuff that I see while I'm out driving around.
Got it, man. It's pretty nice, man. I mean, because I just look at this and um, the colors, of course, stand out, and that Portra 400 recipe really helps out with the colors. Like, the I don't know what it does to it, but the way that it makes anything that's a lighter shade, it really just makes it pop. So in the area that you're in, you're saying that you're driving by, you travel a lot, so that's how you're able to see it. A lot of these places. The thing that I have to ask too is, I'm guessing, yeah, because you're not. This isn't. You weren't. You didn't not go to photography school. You're not a professional, as people would call a professional and stuff like that. And this isn't your everyday thing. This is something you're doing as an enthusiast. Is It looks like it's taken a lot of dedication, because a lot of these photos are taken during golden hour and at nighttime. And is this, are you intentionally waiting for those times, or is it just you happen to be out, you remember a spot, or you see a spot, or you're just barely getting out of work, and you're going and taking these shots?
Yeah, I mean, if I can shoot during golden hour, I always will. I've got a lot of evening meetings or early morning meetings where I'm on the road. Maybe I'll leave a little early if I think there's going to be a good spot that I can pull over. So it's, I guess it's a mix, some intentional, some just dumb luck.
Got it. You got any cameras or anything like that, lenses, any gear that you're looking forward to picking up? You thinking you might have to expand your family?
You might cut this interview short, but I've been thinking about like an M6 or an MP, maybe. I'm becoming also kind of a contacts head. I'm into that Zeiss glass on the contacts. I picked up a G1 a couple months ago with a 28 millimeter, and I think whatever like the legendary kind of lens is, I think it's a 45 planar. And man, I don't know, there's something wrong with me, I think, because I like film shots that look like digital and digital shots that look like film, and that contact Zeiss stuff is pretty good. So maybe a contact 645, I don't know, we'll see.
No, I mean, I don't mind that at all. Honestly, I say it all the time. If I can get an M6 or an MP, if I can get a film like a body, I'd be down for it, just for the glass. I don't think people understand that. People talk about Canon glass being great, and oh, it's in the glass and things like that. And people even talk about Fujifilm glass, but Zeiss and Leica glass, there is something completely different to them. And I completely agree with you with that. Every Zeiss lens I've ever had has been probably one of my favorite lenses for any system. And then I had the opportunity to shoot with an M6 or an M6 and then an M9, so digital and a analog like body. With I don't really remember what was on there, maybe a 28 millimeter, but I liked it. I enjoyed it until I found out about the price. I wasn't understanding the price, but you know, we're Hey, listen, you know what? At this point, I think usually people that don't like me are going to shut me off past the first 30 seconds of this anyway. I've got the YouTube analytics to prove it. But no, man, I've got a soft spot in my heart for Leica. But I just feel like the digital's overpriced. But the
I
go
agree
on.
with you. I agree with you on the digital, and I don't know. I'm probably talking out of school because I have no real experience, but I wonder, um, like a digital sensor, or even the Fuji medium format. And I've never shot either one, but I wonder if it's really worth it, given that it's a digital sensor and just the way that things advance. And I don't know. I guess let me know down below if I'm wrong. But
Oh man. Well, I would. I mean, I would still go for it for sure. I'd go for that film camera. And you know what the thing is the lenses. I mean, I would. Um, I mean, if the digital bodies were $3,000, $4,000, I would have already made. I would have made the jump. I mean, I just like the lenses that much. I mean, to be honest with you, it has nothing to do with the body. I just really like the lenses, and that's where you're getting all your character from with them. So, hey man, if you get the opportunity to do it. I say take the jump because you know as much as because it's so weird as people will like rally and they'll say some pretty outlandish stuff about Leica and I'll just be like LOL, but I kind of hurt on the inside because I'm like damn I really actually like their glass and so no man I say take the jump, especially if it's going to get you. The biggest thing is getting something in your hand that makes you want to go out and shoot. And that's the thing that's exciting is that I figure if you're thinking about the MP and the M6, that'll be something you're more excited to shoot, which means we'll get more content that we get to see, which is a plus for all of us who actually take an interest in what you're doing. Because I'm telling you, once again, I mention this all the time whenever I'm talking on YouTube, is that there is no such thing to me as a professional photographer. There's no such thing as someone who is a pro who has all the answers. Everyone's always growing and learning. And I also say that it's not difficult to fall in love with photography, to be a photographer in the standpoint of you're telling a story. And the thing that I love the most out of all your photos is you're telling a story. And I don't know what city you're from, who you're around and who you run with, but I feel like in everything that you're doing, you're telling me about where you're from the gas stations to the silos to the plants to the old trucks that people are still using to the cargo trucks to the rusted impalas and whatnot from being in the snow to the old motels to the bridges to the snow to the mountains, the windmills. I just feel like everything is just very cohesive in what you're doing. When it comes to basically what you're shooting and everything, do you ever feel a certain kind of, not a pride, but do you ever feel glad that people are seeing where you're coming from and knowing a little bit about like where you're at right now?
oh man, I'm super happy that people want to look at my photos, that anybody would want to look at them. I think that makes it more fun. I hope that doesn't sound like prideful, but yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know why anyone would want to look at it, but yeah, that's definitely fun. It's fun being on Instagram and kind of talking to like-minded weirdos all over the world that are into like old rusty cars and whatever else, kind of the cliche stuff, I guess. But yeah, I'm having fun.
Oh, it's not cliche. Is there a favorite account that you follow on Instagram? Someone that you're constantly looking at, wishing I took that photo? Because there's a lot of times where I'm like that.
There's a lot of guys. The top three I think that come to mind immediately are McDougal, Dad Wilder, and Jason Chambers. I think those guys are next level. But there's just so many good people on there.
Oh yeah, I feel like Instagram is full of people that maybe don't get the credit they deserve. I mean, they like people like you, man, who honestly, like, once again, I can't, sometimes I look at this and I still can't believe it's all from one person, and even more, I still can't believe it's all from one person who's doing this, who has only had this Instagram since January, and who technically, it's not like you're pursuing this full time. You gotta, you're doing, you're.
I'm not making any money off it.
Yeah,
man.
you're not making any money.
I'm losing. It's going the other way.
I know, right? Exactly. Dude. It's an expensive hobby. It's an expensive hobby, and every time a new lens comes out or a new camera body comes out, or you watch another review, it really, really
Yeah,
gets you.
I'm into the gear. That's half the fun. So
Yeah, the gear is half the fun. Do you have any film cameras, or do you shoot any medium format film by chance?
I do have a Pentax 6.7 with that 105 Takumar lens. This is kind of funny. I was up this past weekend at my folks' place. They live up in a stereotypical, beautiful Colorado area right outside of Rocky Mountain National Park. And so I loaded up, I brought, I don't even want to say how many cameras and rolls of films and things with me up there. And I didn't get out and shoot. I think I corrupted my mind with Instagram or YouTube because I was like, where's all the rusty cars and the, old decrepit rundown buildings and things. But I've got a few rolls of 120 Ektachrome that I need to put through that Pentax. I haven't shot any slide film yet, so need to get out and do that soon.
That's pretty nice, man. Yeah, I've been tempted to go back and purchase a medium format film camera. I actually wanted a medium format point and shoot. Fujifilm has one to where they had a medium format point and shoot that I really was tempted. And honestly, I feel like Kyle McDougall did a review on that. Did he not?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it if McDougall didn't. I know it's out there.
Yeah, I think he's actually the one because that actually got me hooked on it. That's just so funny because I literally just thought about that. Like, man, it actually was Kyle McDougall. And then, so for film and stuff like that, you have medium format. You're shooting 35. You've shot with full frame cameras. You shoot right now primarily with an APS-C with the X100V. Do you have a favorite camera all time you've ever used, or do you have a favorite lens or anything that you've ever had on a body? Got it. No, that's I've heard so much about the G1. I've been curious. I feel like I used to see those floating around for only around $300 back in the day,
Yeah,
and
the body's it's reasonable, I guess. I mean, as reasonable as that stuff is.
yeah.
It's not, you get into the G2 or the T2 or something, and it's like mind-boggling. The G1, I think, gets you access to the glass at a more reasonable price.
Are you looking for any other glass for the G1, or are you sticking with what you got right now?
I think I'm kind of limited. There's two versions of the G1, one with like a green label, where they have like a crazy wide angle lens, I think, that fits the G2, and then like a 90 millimeter or something like that. I don't know. But and I don't know if my body will take those lenses, but honestly, I'm happy with the 28 and the 45 or whatever it is for now.
All right, got it. That's cool, man. Well, man, like I said, I keep looking through and I'm just loving the photos. I'm loving everything you're putting out. Do you sell prints or anything? Do you have a prints that you're sending out, or have you even thought about that?
I got I've watched all these videos. You got to print your work, right? And so I got in kind of over my head, probably with a pretty nice Canon printer, just to see how it works. And I make prints, and then I've got nothing to do with them. So if you want to do a print trade or something like that, hit me up on Instagram, and I'd love to do it.
Oh, I'm actually probably going to take you up on that because there's one that I always go to, and it is I know exactly where it's at. It's from March 2nd. It said moody cloud storm over the bluffs at Kurt Mogul's neighborhood. You shot it on your Sony, and you did an Ektar simulation on it. That's honestly, this is one of my favorite shots I think that I've ever come across. I really, really, really love this shot. Reminds me a lot. I'm originally from New Mexico, and so it reminds me a lot of everything up there, especially whenever you get up north, of course, closer to Colorado, where you guys took all of the liquid and the cool weather and the actual scenery stripped us of it.
We'll do it up. I can send you that one. That was I did a bike tour over the summer with a good buddy of mine. And that was one of the towns that we stopped in. So I pedaled, rode around for a week with the A7 III strapped to my back. I had a Canon DSLR. It was like an 880D, I think. And I thought, well, I think I need to go mirrorless for this bike ride because I don't want to carry that thing around. And then I ended up getting the 2.8 28 to 70 lens or whatever it is. So it was ended up being bigger than the crop sensor Canon was anyways, but I got to take some neat photos, so it was worth it.
Is that the Zeiss F4 28 to 70? Was it that one?
No, I got the Sigma.
Oh, got you. Oh, nice. Okay.
It's 24 to 70, right?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it is 28 to 75 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 24 to 70, but you know the one.
Yeah, well, it looks, I mean, yeah, that's a great shot, man. That is amazing. Yeah, and I imagine that kind of defeated your purpose with going lighter. I originally thought that I'd be getting lighter whenever I went to Sony as well, but the glass of that is heavy as shit.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't really care. I'll carry heavy glass if I get the quality and that I'm willing to make that trade-off.
Yeah, I'm looking at purchasing a lens I told myself I'd never purchase again, the 90f2 for Fujifilm, and because I was like, man, it's too heavy and I don't like to carry it. And recently I've been like, man, I'm kind of missing this. So I think I have to jump on a make. Have you tried ever the conversion lenses for the X100V? They've got the wide and the tight.
Yeah, I haven't. I've seen some videos on those. I've heard kind of mixed reviews, and my thought is if I was going to do that, I would just whip out the A7 III and use whatever other lens I got. The thing I like about that X100V is that it's kind of so small, it's almost pocketable. If I go for a bike ride or something, I can stick it in a jersey pocket. I can put it in my briefcase or whatever and just haul it around. And then once you start to complicate it with, converters and things like that, for my use case, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Got it. Well, I'm liking it, man. I'm liking what you got right now. This is, again, Young Ansel, YOUNG.ANSEL, Young Ansel on Instagram. For anyone listening to this, man, if you have not checked him out, I encourage you to. Even has a picture of an amazing, cute puppy on there, but everything is fantastic. I love what you said about Uslan Kyle McDougall. And about your composition, how everything has balance. I think that this is probably, when it comes to composition, probably one of my favorite accounts, and along with Kyle McDougall. So it makes sense, and I just can't tell you enough how, from the way you're finding locations with the colors, with your balance, your compositions, the lead lines you have, especially whenever you photograph roads, it really, really, really makes a huge difference and turns your photos from a great, fun photo to an amazing, really impactful, inspirational photo all across the board. So thanks for doing what you do and for taking these photos, man, because it really does. It has made me want to go out there and shoot more. And I think from seeing your comments and stuff and the amount of likes you're getting and the amount of shares you're getting, it's doing the same for a lot of other people. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Perfect. Well, we're about out of time. I think there's a 30-minute record time limit on this. So again, this is Young Ansel. Thanks. We'll have to do this again, especially whenever you end up getting that gas and buying buying a Leica. That'll be soon. That might be before the weekend's over, man. All right, cool deal. Well, then I'll hit you up with another link. All right, man. Sounds good. This was fun. Thanks for having me. Yeah, you have a good one.